Okay, how is the sound? Do you have your headphones on? I think we're almost there. Nothing? The bar's moving. Oh, you got sound? Okay. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and we're back with another live stream. Welcome. Um, I've noticed that a lot more people watch these videos after the live stream. So for all you people, welcome and hey, thanks for tuning in. I really do appreciate that. That really does help the channel to grow, gets our hours up. Eventually, this thing will be monetized and we can start doing some giveaways or something. So, but yeah, thank you for coming in, tuning in like that. And if you get a chance, join us live, hang out, chat with us, steer the conversation a bit, and we can have some fun with that. All right. Um, we still have, let's see, this is this button. There we go. The secret word game is still going on. This has been since like Chinese or no, from like the regular New Year's, I think. We've been trying to get somebody to figure out what the magic word is. All you gotta do is type in the word into the chat and the bot will actually um, tell you that you're a winner because the bot's pretty smart. Actually, it was really cool. The the first time we ever did this, the two people who were closest to figuring out what the word was were spelling it wrong. And I'm dumb enough to have not realized they had spelled it wrong. So I was confused as to why it wasn't going off. But yeah, it just makes it a whole lot easier. Then I don't have to like stare at the screen or whatever to see if you guys have actually won or whatever. It actually gives me a notification. So I think that's kind of neat. Um, so yeah, we're still waiting on that. What were the hints we had, honey? We had my wife's in the room with me, not you guys, honey. Hi. Um, it is something to do with one of my older videos, and it's a something that we shouldn't have trouble with spelling. So those are the hints for the secret word game. I still haven't come up with anything else I could actually give to that wouldn't like absolutely just give it away. So um yeah, if you guys want chat with me, see if you can't say the magic word and we'll go from there. What else? Well, kind of give you an update as to where we are. So if you remember last week, we were like this. Okay, so that is one segment done at the bottom and one segment to the left of it is where I was then. Now I'm working on this area here. This will be the third segment, and the second one is done. So there's already 12 tassels out of 53. So it'll be 53 tassels hanging down when this thing is done, and I already have 12 of them made. So that's what, 41 to go? And then this area is six rows, so we'll be 18 down. And yeah. And Tinny? Is it Tinny? Is that how I say it? Hi, Tinny. Hello. Um, so yeah, that's it's if you were thinking, hey, you know what, I kind of expected there to be more progress than this, yeah, you join the club. Um, it turns out since having had the COVID that I've been having real problems with my eyes and being able to focus well. And mostly I think it's just they're like really, really dry, and I have to put eye drops in, and it just has been making this um, a lot more difficult to work on. So I've been having to take a lot more breaks, and yeah, it definitely has affected my productivity. So Tinny, I think you came in just after we were talking about the secret word game. This is the stuff that's up for grabs. If you can figure out the word is something from one of my old videos, and it's something that's easy to spell. If you can figure out what that word is, you can win all those cool things. I think it's a keychain, but we were talking about the possibility that it might be a really cool thing to hang off a bag, and then two bracelets. So one of the bracelets was made by me, and the other one was actually made by one of my Patreon supporters, Rainbow Haze Shop. She has her own Etsy shop going on, and I think she was making her own shop. I'm not sure how that's coming up along these days, but yeah, um, she makes really nice stuff. And so yeah, there's two bracelets and whatever you want to use that other thing for. Like I said, keys. Keys seems like a cool idea, I suppose. Let's see what else is going on. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all the notes I had for today. Uh, why is the camera not sharp? That is a good question. Um, where's my eyeglass case? Does it work? Hang on. Trying to see if there's a fingerprint on the lens here. There's something going on with the camera that's weird. Oh, and I can turn on the music. All right, let's go. It's so weird. This is really weird. My camera is actually it's a pretty decent camera. It should be like locked in with like whatever, but the focus seems just a little off, and I don't know why. Is that better? That's really weird. Normally we have all this stuff sorted out long before I actually go on the air, and today got a little bit I don't know, distracted or whatever, had things to do. And is it better? Good deal. All right, so we so as far as progress, I did manage though. I don't know if you would have noticed this without me saying it, but this row here is the row where I have to change out the most number of strings. In fact, it was up to 10 strings in a single diamond on a couple of those boxes, which is really a lot. It really takes a huge amount of effort and concentration to make sure that everything goes in exactly as it's supposed to, and keeping the right pattern still going, and not accidentally mixing it up or whatever. So it's really, really super difficult. And I didn't want to do it on the live stream, mostly because I was afraid of making a mistake. And it's just so time consuming and so motivation, just a motivation killer. I don't know the right words for this, but yeah, it just zaps all the energy out of you. So I kind of decided I was going to get that part out of the way, and we still have to add strings. So if you want to see how that happens, then just hang in there. I'm not far away from that, doing that. Actually, see this light blue here and the light blue on this side both had to get changed out. So you can see it from the left side and the right side. And there'll be some other ones. Some of the oranges need to be changed out. So I actually kind of planned for it, and I have actually just over here to the side where the camera's held up, I have some strings stashed as well, so I don't have to get up this time. So but yeah, it's been a bit of a challenging week over here. Beyond just, I do have more things to do than just tying knots. My father-in-law has Alzheimer's, and he has been a little bit more difficult, shall we say. So there's been some concerns with that. A lot of stuff going on. Keep me busy, keep me doing whatever. My mother-in-law was moved off to a nursing home because she suffered some major strokes and is now basically a vegetable. So we've been trying to kind of clear out some of the clutter and the things that nobody's going to want, so taking care of that kind of stuff. It's been the kind of stuff that makes a person reflect and be thankful for the things that I have. So mostly I'm thankful for my super supportive wife who keeps me going. So here's the light blue getting swapped out. Grab me a string here. Now mind you, my strings are all doubled up. And that's what makes all of this basically possible. So this string is 1/3 of a skein in length, and I'm going to put the two ends together and basically pull this up so that way I'm right smack in the middle. Now this is going to be when I did half the knot already, and since we're going in this direction, I'm going to put this over the underlying string and put the new string in the direction that it's going to be going in, and then I complete the knot. That's pretty simple, right? Now I set the old string, the short one, kind of off to the side, and I take this new one and I tie my knot, get halfway through, right? So that's done. And then I take the short string and lay it over the middle, and then I complete the knot. Now I take the short one, kind of get it off to the side again, tie half of it, and then lie it across the middle again. And I just do this a few times. This way when I trim it off in the back, it's so wrapped up underneath or whatever, or inside rather, it's so wrapped up inside of these other knots that it'll never come undone. Like you would have to, these 4 knots that I've done, all 4 of those would have to come out in order for this string to be freed up and to become a problem. And basically I have done this on a number of bags, including ones that I run through the washing machine, and it does not come out. It's a pretty clever trick. It works out great, but it only really works like this because the strings are doubled. So I know that not everybody's a fan. Some people really like the intricacy of doing their strings in single strands, And I totally get that. It is a completely different look and it looks fantastic. However, if you're going to do something big, I definitely recommend doubling up the string. It just really, it takes up a little bit more space, so things go a little faster. It's stronger, more durable, so it's going to withstand the amount of time, which is something that if you're putting a lot of hours into your work, you're going to want it to last a long time. So I think there's just a lot of advantages overall. Okay, so now we're going to go in the other direction. We're going to go off to the left. So I do half the knot and set that aside and grab another blue string. Hey, Amanda. Hello. Okay, so again, put the two ends together. Drag it all the way till I get my little loop. And this time we are going off to the left. So as I put this on, that string is going to go off to the left as well. So it's the same exact thing, just in reverse of what we did on the other side. So now that I've completed that knot, go down, do half, and lay the short string across it. Yeah, if it wasn't for the ability to add string, I'd have never been able to do a project nearly as big as this is. It's just would have been virtually impossible. And when it comes to the strings, I might add, I have had to cut up a lot more string to add to this. The one thing I'm kind of noticing is that the white was, or well, this off-white here was used a lot less frequent as the others. So out of them, that's the one I have not had to cut up more string to, because I kind of was cutting everything evenly for a while there, but now I have still a pile of white on the hooks over there. But everything else I've been just going through like crazy. In fact, last week I believe we were right around 760, somewhere around that ballpark. I'm not sure because I wrote over the notes of last week's. But we're now up to 785 skeins cut for this project. Some of them are still on the wall, but I've only cut up to 5 skeins of any given color that had run out. So there's really a limited number of strings up on the wall, even if they're, at the most. And yeah, and as soon as I'm basically done with this segment and down here, I'm going to have to cut more light blues, because I think there's about 3 strings left of that. So as soon as I get into the next area over here to the left, that's going to become a thing. So yeah. So okay, thicker string versus doubling. It really depends. There is a limit as to how big of a string that you can actually double. Nice embroidery floss can be doubled, but if you start getting into like yarn sized or the bigger ones, it doesn't do as well, because the two compete and they don't end up laying flat. Now, speaking of sizes, this string is from China. This is straight out of AliExpress, and there's a big difference between this and if I had gone and used DMC, and that's actually makes for a really good point and something that I can talk about. This project is 140 cm wide, or 55 inches, which is also 4.5 feet. So if you wanted to do this project and like I said, this is 866 strands, right? If you wanted to do the same size project, but you wanted to use DMC, you would have probably have used more than 1,000 strands to have gotten the same width, right? Now that we're not talking about how long it's going to be or how much string I have to add, just in the width alone, there is a huge discrepancy in the size differences between the two strings. So when you figure that into your cost, right, DMC here in Singapore roughly goes for about $1 a piece. If I am currently with this, the bigger string, and I'm at 785 skeins of floss so far into this, you're looking at, approaching $800 for this project. Now, because I get this out of China and because I bought it in bulk, I get the string for 10, huh? 20 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents, somewhere. It's, let's just say 20 cents, right? Because I think it actually comes to like 17 or something weird. I don't know. It's less, it's a little less than 20, but even at 20 cents, I can use less string. I get to get more coverage, right? Or this less string to get the same coverage. And I get it at 20% of the cost. I don't know. I don't see a downside to this. Yeah, right. No, and I've explained that in doubling thicker string you can't do. If it's too thick, you can't do it. I know. Yeah. Right. Right. No, and I talked about that. I said I did. So Andy thinks I didn't quite cover your thing. Yeah, $800 in material cost. Could you imagine? It would be incredibly whatever. Now, I have played with some thicker strings, stuff that I found that is like DMC has, I think it's made for crocheting. And they come in different sizes, and I can't remember which way it's bigger. It's a 3 or 5 is bigger and stuff. And I have played with it, and it's a lot of fun. But I did those in single strands because it was so much thicker, and it's cool. It looks cool. It's great for doing bracelets. It goes fast. But again, I don't think I could necessarily use the thicker stuff to actually do big projects. I know that one of my Patreon supporters, John, he is absolutely smitten with the bigger strings, the fatter strings. He's all for it. Now, mind you, he really sticks to just making the bracelets, and he kicks out bracelets really frequently. Like, it's pretty impressive when he does his like monthly review thing, as to how much he's able to create. But it really depends on what you're trying to do with the stuff, I suppose. Like, honestly, if you are just making bracelets and you want the convenience of having something wide and you don't have to double it or whatever, then so be it. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, the thicker stuff you can't double up, right? So that's just a thing. Mind you, this is thicker string though. This is actually like just a bit thicker, and it's surprising how just a little bit makes such a difference. Now, mind you, too, another thing that you can do if you're doubling up your string. Now, this is kind of fun. I was playing around for a little bit with having many colors in a bracelet, right? So let's say if I was going to have 12 strands, I could, if I double up the string, I can have 12 colors, right? Now, so check this out. I like to have my loops done in a kumi. So I take the 12 strings and go, right around the halfway mark, put it into the kumi disc, make the small kumi, and then when I bring them back together, I start pairing off the colors, matching them up. And that gives me my 12 individual colors that I can use in whichever way. So if I want to do one of those, the bracelet where it comes down and has like the middle part's going the opposite direction, so it looks kind of like it's a different path than the two sides. That looks great when you have it in 12 colors. And it's a neat little way of doing things. Um, it doesn't take a whole lot of, extra effort or anything else. The trick is, you know, you have 12 colors instead of having, if you um, didn't double it up, then it would be like what, 24 strings or something. So yeah, kinda, it's just a cool effect. It's something that you can try. I don't know if I didn't describe it very well. Let me know and I'll try to maybe make a post or do a video or something. I think I may have actually done a video on it. Not 100%. I've done a lot of videos over the years. So Amanda, have you been using your Kumi disc? Have you come up with some fun uses for it yet? I think there's a way of doing flat Kumis. I don't think the wife and I have ever really gotten into that yet, but I think it's a neat prospect. Not, it's kind of turns it, I think, into something kind of more or less woven, which I don't think I don't think it would last nearly as long as say like this bracelet work does, because essentially with our bracelet work, all these knots make it so that way if something made a hole in it, it won't unravel because it'll only go up to the next knot. Whereas opposed to weaving things, yeah, that totally doesn't work like that. One little piece comes out and then the whole thing starts to come apart. So yeah, I'm actually kind of pleased so far with the progress overall. Like I said, this week's been a little bit more troublesome, but overall, I can see light at the end of the tunnel, and it's reassuring. Oh, that's cool. It's always nice when you can do this kind of stuff for friends. I definitely feel you on that one. That's awesome. The music is not too bad. Yeah, so on top of the whole, working on this and trying to still come to a complete recovery after COVID, I have been starting back on my exercise of doing the bicycle and stuff. And I have to say, man, I'm no good at this trying to regulate myself or trying to slow down and only do, a little bit. I know that there's, health factors supposedly that if you come out of being sick and you go full on, that you can do damage to your heart or whatever. But man, I am just so not geared to take the slow and steady path and stuff. I'm it's been really trying. Yeah, yeah, and sadly though, I don't know about you, but I have noticed that a number of Singaporeans like that I have gifted a bracelet to, they're like, "Oh, that's so awesome! Thank you so much. Oh, it's awesome." A week later, they're not wearing it, and when you ask them like why, well, it's too special. I don't want to see it get damaged. You know, it's at home. It's in a drawer. It's, you know, put away safe. Like, come on, just the whole point is to wear it. I don't know. Like I used, the people I used to run with back when I lived in the Detroit area, like we would put the bracelets on and we would wear them until they die, you know, and that could take 4, 5, 6 years, you know, and they would look just so battered by the time that, you know, they're finally falling off. I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. Yeah. Um, I'm sure that there were ones that certainly needed, especially when it came to the spiral base. That one there, I really, yeah, you're right. I could have done better with it. And mind you, like a lot of those videos were like really early on in me making videos, so I might have been a little bit more tongue-tied or something. But when it came to the spiral base, so much of what I do is based on how I feel, on how the knots are tight or not. Like if it starts to squinch up the fabric and stuff, then I know that I'm taking too many strings off. And I don't know how to teach that. I don't know how to explain how that actually works. That's why like the regular ones where it's just a simple like this thing where I turned it inside out and then tied off all of the strings on the inside and then turn it back right way around and it turns into something. That's easy. I can show. But like the spiral one though, or the making the bags rounded or whatever, those I there's a gal who basically took my advice and played around with it. I want to say it's like Priscilla or her name begins with a P. I can't think of it. She got really good at making those kind of bags. She was making like a little plant holder that, you know, and just all these other things out of basically took my design and just ran with it. And she had some pretty decent instructions for it. I was kind of envious as to how she was able to word it and make it sound awesome. But yeah, when I get done with this, yeah, I plan on, once I get done with this, I'm going to do some easy stuff because honestly, it seems like all I've done is like huge, you know, whatever. But yeah, well, this one, hang on. It's so weird that I have like so many different things in reach. So this, yeah, let's switch cameras. So this bag, there's a whole video from beginning to end, from how the kumi got put together to the loops, how I made one loop per 2 diamonds, and then how I finished off the bottom of it, which is essentially you can see where the dotted bits are through here. You can see I kind of did like a zigzag. Basically, I did a diamond on this side, and then a diamond from this side, and then a diamond from this side, and then a diamond from this side. And that took a whole lot of planning and whatever to get that to work how it did. but I think it turned out pretty awesome. And that's one of the more easy bags to do. And I did a bunch of the smaller bags, like the little, you can hang it around your neck and just carry a bit of money with you or something down to the, like if you're going to the Hawker Center or something, have a couple cards and, you know, maybe your IC or something. And those, I think people failed to realize that when I was showing how to make the little bags, the ones that I could put together in a week, they're not really different than a bag that it would have been bigger and had to be put together in say built in a month, right? If just doing this big around, right? If you times it by 4 or 6 to get a bigger size, it's still the same principles. All the same geometry goes into it. It's just more strings. So, and I know for a fact that there's a number of videos on that kind of stuff. The little zipper coin bag could be definitely turned into a clutch, right? It's the same, whether it's a little bag like this with a zipper on the top that's only, you know, big enough to put, you know, your odd loose change in, or you do something where it's, I don't know, 30 cm. It's still the same thing. It's just how many strings you put into it. You just have to calculate that out in advance, how many strings you want to have, and it's the same exact thing. And maybe that's my fault for not explaining that those videos are usable in a different context, in a different number of strings, you know, whatever. Like even if you look at the little pouch thing that I did for my sister's bag, right? That was just made to be able to hold, you know, a few dozen, well, maybe like a dozen cards and maybe some cash or something in it, you know, because she's where she works and stuff. That's going to be really awesome for her. Yeah, that little thing, that too could have been scaled up, you know, and then you would end up with a full-on purse, right? It had the flap that went over and a little button that held it. If you double, triple, quadruple that, you'd have a pretty decent sized bag. And like I say, maybe it's my fault for not having pointed out the fact that the same, because I used that same geometry on a lot of my earlier bags, and I did some big ones, like this bag here is using a dice and rolling to see how long each one of the colors comes down. That thing is ginormous, but it's absolutely no different than the smaller bag that's made the same way. Like, it literally is no different. It's just more loops added, more strings. There's 400 strings in that one. Yeah, and I think too that I think that some of the people who look at these things and say, well, I didn't make an exact pattern for the bag, they're the same people who need a pattern for pretty much everything that they make. They want to have a step-by-step how to do everything in the whole project. And for me, I really would rather teach you how to double, triple, and quadruple your bracelet size, and then show you how, once you've gotten this wider thing, how then you join the two sides together and now you have a cylinder, you know. So you started out like this is just like right here, that's 3 across, right? So that's the dovetail 3 times, and then another 3 on this side, so there's 6 times, right? And that once you get to where you can't go any further without bringing down the one side, you just join the two together. Now you have a cylinder, right? Once you have the cylinder, come down far enough that you're going to lose a little bit when you tie off the insides here, right? Come down far enough that when you tie it off, that you still have room to put your eyeglasses in there, and bam, you have a pretty cool little eyeglass case. Or make it bigger still, and now you're looking at potentially having a clutch. Maybe you add a zipper onto it. Maybe you do one side longer than the other, and then now that's a flap that goes over the top of it. You know, if I teach the general how to put something together, I think, well, I see it's just me, maybe. I think when the way I teach it, I want people to be able to use their imagination and be able to design it in a way that comes out to their liking versus making it the way I don't like the whole next you do this, because it's very it makes the whole project become my project. It becomes my vision, it becomes my thing. And I really think that all these designs, what I want to teach everybody else is it'd be your thing, and it should be your vision. You should look at the pattern and say, I have a pattern that I enjoy, I know how to double it, and I'm quite proficient at it. I'd like to take that and turn it into something bigger, and then have me help show you how that works, and then from there turn it into anything. This is all from a pattern. This is the original pattern right here. There's 6 diamond shapes and 6 counter diamond shapes to each one of the others, because they the colors sort of, I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but the colors basically are not the same from the top and the bottom. Normally there's like a certain symmetry. This doesn't have that. So what's in this row here, these ones are always be sort of the same, and then the row underneath it is the counterpart to that. So yeah. Hang on, I gotta grab some yellow string. I haven't had to add too much of the yellow, but every once in a while here and there I come across some that it's just going to be too short to make it to the end of this thing, despite how close we are getting to the end of this. It really is. So yeah, this is far from freehand, and just to give you an idea, this is what we're working on. This is the size of it. It is 4.5 foot wide, and I don't know how much it is in feet. It's 60 cm long at the longest point, like where the tassels are. It's 60 cm. Is that 2 feet? 2 foot. 2 foot long. It's basically, this is a mirror in our living room, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have something on the wall that was like that size of something I made? And the wife's like, yeah, let's do that. And here we are. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I have to. It's so hard for me to imagine a balance between it's your project, but you're doing it my way. I can't stress how much that kind of stresses me out in thinking that I'm telling people that this is how we're going to make the bag. This is how it's going to be. It just doesn't. And I know that some people would love it. I totally get that. And it's weird to me that people would want to do it that way, and that they would want to have the same exact bag that other people are making. Like, that would be. I always kind of prided myself on not doing the same designs over and over, even though like some of the patterns themselves are the same. I do it with different colors and that kind of stuff. I can't imagine, because I've seen people like asking for, like, what colors did I make something in. They're gonna make the exact whatever. It's just, it really, I don't know why I'm getting stressed. Yeah, the end is finally in sight, and I can't tell you how excited about that I am. Really. It's there's, I was saying this earlier when we kind of opened up. So on the previous image, you can see on the right hand side, there's 6 tassels completed. We are currently, there's 12 tassels completed. So that whole little other section to the left of it, those have all come down, and we're at the next segment to the left of that. That's where we're at now. Right. And see, I taught myself all of the bracelets completely on my own. Like honestly, I was taught how to do a candy stripe. To be able to reverse the knot, that was something I just came up with, an epiphany in the night. And then to be able to do the zigzag, to be able to make it go left and right, that came from trying to dissect somebody else's bracelet that had worn out and trying to mimic it. And basically it dawned on me how to do that. So I get that there's other ways of learning. I just don't know what goes into that. It doesn't, in my head, I can't comprehend what that means or how to teach for that. I don't know if it's the ADHD or some kind of weird stubbornness or what it is, but it just does not somehow compute for me that like how to show you to have the freedom without, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And I think I think Mandy's right. You know, that's part of it right there. And I guess for like my teaching, I want to teach how the instrument works and how, you know, any song could be played and that kind of thing, versus the people who go to YouTube and learn, you know, yeah, a single song, like how to play Let It Go or whatever. Like it's simple, just learn one thing. And eventually those people may learn how to play other songs, but maybe maybe it's not necessary. I don't know. I don't think that that's necessarily the better way to learn. Like if you learn to play Let It Go on the piano versus learning the scales, learning how, you know, what note is what on the piano first, you'll know how to do one song, but you won't know how to do any others. If you learn how the piano works and all that kind of stuff, then you can pick it up and you can do anything with it. And that's because I came at it at that style. It gives me, I don't know, if you go through my portfolio and you look at some of the stuff I've come up with, there's more than a dozen bags, and so many of the bags are so completely different. Like there's a round bag, right? Well, there's a couple round bags actually. I did a couple where I started a strip coming around that, like it was flat, big cylinder, and then brought in both sides, and yeah, completely different from anything anybody else had ever made. And I have no idea how to explain how to do that. Like honestly, it's so play it by ear and so just, I don't know, it was silly. Take care, Tina. Tinny, or however you say it. Yeah, I'll be here. Well, and we'll be here next week. So yeah. Um, yeah. So after this, like, so the next patterns I'm doing after this are going to be really easy. They're going to be the whatever the heck this is again. It's going to be based off of this type of pattern, and I'm not sure. I might try to change it up, and I might actually do a quick video beforehand, because like this pattern can be done in different ways, and I'm not sure that people that work on it actually even realize that you can do it in different ways. So that's all kind of coming down the pipe. Trying to work out how I'm going to actually record it, and how many different versions of the bracelet that I plan on making before going ahead and working on the bigger project of making pillows, because that's going to be that's again, well, with the pillows it's kind of neat because it's just a big square chunk of fabric that I'm making, and then I'm going to hand it off to a seamstress who's going to sew more fabric and a zipper on it, so that way we can have some really cool pillows to toss around the house. But in the making of it, I suppose I can actually show like how I could potentially have joined the corners, made cylinders, created bags. Can do a whole lot of stuff with that. Right. Well, that's why there was a number, like a series of videos where I was showing how to double up a bracelet, and I know that some of the bracelets you're working on are relatively, some of them are a bit complex, and that's why, you know, I've kind of hinted at you should learn how to double a bracelet. So if you're working on like a 12 string, you know, could you do a 24 string of the same thing? Absolutely. I know you could. Could you do it without having to print out a separate pattern to do it? That's once you get to where you know the pattern and you can actually just double things, then I think you're really on the road to being able to do the bags and stuff. And I think honestly, anybody who like, okay, so I was teaching at the elderly center where my mom was going during, like, before COVID hit, and I was teaching these older ladies on how to do bracelets, and we were starting with the candy stripe, and then, you know, that was going to go on to the chevron. And a couple of them really, they had seen, you know, the bag that Mandy carries, you know, the thing I made for her, and they wanted so much to be able, like, can we make bags? And it's like, you really have to learn how to walk before you run. And yeah, so a lot of my videos, I think, really were, you know, like a lot of the older ones were really about trying to teach how to walk, and not walking by mimicking other people, but learning how to design your own patterns, how to understand that a color that travels underneath the knot, like this, I just tied two strings, a light blue and a dark blue, but because the light blue's on top, you don't see where the dark blue goes. So I created graph paper to be able to design out, that's like this image was made with the graph paper, where you could see down underneath of all of the strings what is going on, so that way you can help design your own patterns. And once you kind of grasp that, then doubling becomes a whole lot easier, because you can sort of envision what's going on with your strings, and you can alter your patterns accordingly. A pattern like this, I'm using very little white and lots of blue and lots of the orange, but in a pattern like this, we're using all the strings almost evenly. So in this one here, you're less likely going to have to add the strings if you're only going for, like a bracelet length thing. Where this, even in a bracelet length, I might have some troubles with some of the string colors that get used more frequently. And knowing that could really change like what you're going to do with a project. So that's kind of a big thing. Oh, Gothic made it here. Hello, Gothic. So basically, like I said before, I got the more difficult row up here done. I still have to add some strings on these. This is as far as, if we look at last week's picture, as far down as that area just off from the right hand side, the completed area, that next kind of bar area down, that one segment down, that's kind of what this is, but one space over. So there's 12 tassels, and this is going to bring us up to 18. So I just have these 2 rows here to go, and then I have to shift the whole thing kind of up and over to be able to bring down those other tassels. So, and mind you, this is there's no tutorials for me for this kind of thing. The reason we're doing it this way, the reason why I didn't just bring this row all the way across, was I started to realize that there's so much fabric that's going up and over the top of this clipboard. Let me pan out here. So I got the clips at the top, right? There's so much fabric going over the top of that it's down to the bottom, down to where the hang on, I gotta fix the focus. Okay, so there's so much fabric, it's going down and hitting onto the easel and stuff. And that means up in the corners, it's become even more problematic because there's just so much fabric trying to fold and move in different ways. And that because so much string is added in this segment, when I wrap it around the side, it was just, I was totally going to get my string in a bunch. It was going to be so problematic. And so I kind of decided that like the easier way of doing this is to finish it off and make those tassels, because there's that much less material going around the sides and whatever. And yeah, I have to, like, once I finish this, then I come down to this area down below it, and then I'll have to come back up high and do that segment. And it's a lot of bouncing around, but I think it's going to turn out easier for me. That is basically what it boils down to. Like, there's no definitive right or wrong. It came down to a feel, and yeah, I'm totally okay with thinking that the way that I'm doing it is the right way. But then again, I wouldn't want if somebody came to me and like, oh, I want to make one just, it's sometimes some of this stuff has to be on what feels right to you. You have to develop a sense of confidence in what you're making to be able to figure out if this is where it ends or not. Like, so I imagine Gothic is really good at crocheting, right? Just to give you an example, if she's making a blanket and the pattern said that you only had to go 60 stitches or whatever, I don't know, I have no idea how to crochet, so whatever. If she decides that she would actually rather have a larger blanket because it'll be extra comfy and she doesn't have to worry about her toes popping out at night, then that's prerogative, and that's what should be taught versus sticking to a pattern and doing it exactly and whatever. In my mind, this is my humble opinion. This is, don't hate me for this, but in my mind, teaching how to be able to make a choice and how to do it so it comes out to the what you want, your standards, your way, makes so much more sense to me. It's so much more, I would much rather that personally. I'd much rather be able to know how to make my own decision. And mind you, my sister, was awesome at crocheting, and she was making these blankets. You could do a blanket in a week. Okay, sorry, Gothic, I forgot. My sister could do a blanket in a week. Really good at this stuff. Like, she could just blow through these things, right? I told her, because the blanket she was making was like a 3-color thing, and I told her that it would be kind of fun to do it because she had like some yarn laying around. She had this 4-color combination that would be really cool. And I said, well, why don't you just do it like this? And she's like, well, I can't. The pattern only calls for 3 colors. And I go, but if you just go around the 3 with the 4th color, the thing will come out just a little bit bigger, but you'll have 4 colors instead. It never dawned on her that she didn't have to follow the pattern. And once she broke out of that cycle, it turned what she could create into something completely new and something completely. And I guess no one along the way had bothered to mention to her that you're allowed to do that, and that's I don't know. I think a lot of the people who use the patterns, I think they're kind of stuck in that same, thing. I don't know. I have to, now you got me busy thinking about it. I'm going to have to figure out how to make up a cool pattern that will allow for making a bag, but people have to use their own stuff to do it. Like that's going to be a challenge. Okay, I need another yellow. Yeah, and for some people that totally work. Like for me, the chevron came just because I figured out how to tie the knot backwards. And then while I was making the very first bracelet where I had the chevron, I was like, well, wait a second. What if I don't take it all the way down to the end? What if I just shortened it up or whatever? What would happen then? And essentially, I started into something like this, right? Because, I was just making the chevron. I'm like, okay, so if I don't go to the end, oh, look, I can bring this down this way. Oh, and this pattern was the very next thing that I made. Like, I didn't have a pattern. There was no internet. This is back in '87. There was no internet. So suddenly I have this cool epiphany I'm going to make. And that was literally the first pattern that I came up with on my own. And then from there, it was all kinds of trial and error and making a mess of things. And one of the things I think that really taught me the most was getting kind of, how do you put it? I'm old enough. I just get jiggy with it, right? I would just go completely crazy, like no right or wrongs, just some this direction, some that direction, and go a little bit nuts. And then in the middle, reverse the sequence, like do a diamond, and then try to figure out how to make it symmetrical from the first side that I had done. And that was like, yeah, completely crazy. Um, but it taught me the fact that it's really difficult to kind of guess what's going on underneath. Um, and it also taught me how to really pay attention and kind of memorize the directions of the knots. And um, sometimes I would come out with a pattern that was like I loved so much that I would start to kind of play with that and come up with my own designs. Other times I would end up hating it and didn't like the way it went. So I look at either one of those as a learning experience. And yeah, that was my really early bracelet days. In fact, I think a lot of the experimental ones I wasn't taking down back in those days. I didn't even have color copiers. So when you look at the like in my portfolio on the website akaawol.com, if you look in there, you'll see some some of those were done on black and white, and I used like color pencils to kind of color it in to kind of give you an idea of what it looked like. But some of those really early designs, those were the ones that I liked more. And then there is for every one that I liked, there was probably five or more that I just didn't care for as much. No, you got your yarn in a bunch. No. So mind you too, speaking of the graph paper, back when back in the 80s, back when I was trying to make some more complicated patterns, like for example, I knew that there should be a way to be able to make like a chain link, um, and I don't know why that the idea just seemed really cool to me. Probably because I saw like people with money having like big gold chain bracelets and stuff, and I was just gonna have like a knotted one that looked like a chain. And it was my approach to it was really weird, and I ended up using actual graph paper, and I would fill it in with a pen to basically look like the graph paper you can get over on my website, and then use color pencils to try to work out how the strings would go to be able to make it. So if you look in the old pictures of the profile and the portfolio of mine, you'll see that the original chain link ones, they were going left to right. And then once I figured out how that worked, I was like, wait, I can do this up and down. And then there was a really fat one of up and down. Then I realized I could actually make it smaller. And yeah, it was a really huge roundabout way of doing it. But at the end, I got things that I liked and things that I thought were cool. And the whole thought process on how that all came about, man, it was so roundabout, but it was so rewarding too. And I learned so much in doing it. Just absolutely, for me, priceless accomplishments, priceless achievements. Yeah, I know what yarn bark is. Do you start with the strand that pulls from the middle and then your yarn thing slowly deflates, or do you start on the outside and let it kind of roll around? Basically, if you yarn bark, I'm guessing you take from the inside one. That's a good question. I wonder where she is. So Gothic, all that stuff that you're making, are you making things to like sell it like a craft show or something, or are you is everything you're making just strictly for yourself, or right? Yeah, discovery really is like a bigger part of my yeah, that's a brilliant way of describing it. Um yeah, cuz like this right here, like there's been so much repetition on this project, honestly. It's it's so hard. It's so crazy. I am I am so ready to be done. I yeah, I enjoy problem solving. I enjoy developing patterns. I enjoy um like yeah, if you go to the Rapunzel section on the in the portfolio and you look at how many different kinds of bags, like I literally tried to envision how many different ways I could do the fabric without cutting it, without doing anything weird to it, just tying knots and using, you know, kumis and such. Um, and yeah, there's been so many different ways, like so many different ways. Um, and each time was a different challenge. So yeah, that's totally my thing. Right. Yeah, selling to the public can get kind of weird. Like I've done a few like set up a table and stuff. I get what you mean. It's that can be a problem. But at the same time, the stuff you're creating is beautiful, and I would imagine there's definitely a demand for it. I know that on Facebook, I see this gal who's making shawls that have like a spiral look to it, and she seems to be kept pretty busy with the amount of people that want those kind of things. So that's funny that what Mandy just said there. I honestly imagined like if this was back in the day, like I hear that back in like the 1900s, they used to have apprenticeships, right? So if you wanted to learn from the master, you took on an apprenticeship. And if I was going to have any job that you know the apprentice has to come in and start doing it, it would be winding the embroidery floss onto the little spools. You know that's where they're going to start their first hour or so of the day before learning anything. They're gonna have to wind up my string because I hate that stuff. But at the same time, once it's wound onto a little bobbin, it doesn't get tangled, and you can go ahead and grab whatever colors you want, and know that everything is gonna be spot on, ready to roll immediately. And yeah, that, that's my big fantasy. Right. Well, are there like local places where you're at, Gothic, where you can do like the a flea market booth, or like an arts and crafts show, that kind of thing? Because the crafts that you're making, I I know people pay like a boatload of money for that kind of stuff. Well, what I consider boatload versus what other people think is boatload might be different, but still. you know, blankets are a few $100s at least. Oh, I can tell you, if you go that route, to make sure you fill in your paperwork, um, because I tried to do something like that. I tried making tie-dye t-shirts back in the 80s, and I got the license in my name and registered and all that kind of stuff. And apparently, if you're a business, instead of filing your taxes annually, you have to file it quarterly. And I wasn't making anything, so I kind of abandoned the whole thing almost immediately after, when I realized, like, something about the whole process wasn't working for me. Anyways, I don't know how many months passed, but I got like a $1,400 bill, and I'm like, what in the hell are you guys talking about? Why do I owe you guys $1,400? And they're like, this is an estimated amount based on what we think you should be earning. And I'm like, what you think I should be earning? Where the fuck do you think I was? Like, what? Huh? And yeah, it took me quite a deal of paperwork and headache and signing things and whatever before I got them to erase that big debt. It was nightmare-ish. But it makes me wonder, though, how the grandmas do it. Like, there's little old ladies who are making blankets and selling them and stuff, and I guarantee they're not going through all of that process. Or maybe you could sell it, instead of like doing an Etsy, maybe you could do more of like a Craigslist, where it's, it's more of a local thing. Yeah, we still have some COVID things. Next Tuesday, we get to be able to go outside without a mask, but still have masks indoors, still have limited seating restrictions and other stuff. It's weird. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say I have any idea how things work in Canada. That's a whole nother thing that's been so much shaped by Britain that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me at all. Like, you guys have parliaments like England does. You guys have all kinds of stuff like England does. Doesn't. Don't understand. Regardless, I still think you have products that are nice enough that you should be able to sell and make a lot of money. And I think that if you're on the fence about it, then let me be the encouragement to inspire you to go and make a fortune, because I definitely think you could. All right, so this one. Yeah. I think there's a bit of that's exactly how it works, and I think part of that might be like through various maybe churches or whatever, you know, clubs the old ladies are participating in, ends up helping them to get their products in front of different eyes so that way they can be purchased or whatever. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's I think you're right. Still, I know there's some gray hairs out there that are, you know, definitely raking in some pretty good money. I've seen some quilters who get, you know, $1,200 for a blanket, and yeah, I don't know how quickly they're making them, but that seems like some pretty good money. Considering I know my mom made her quilt for a king size bed, she was able to produce that in less than a week. Um, there wasn't a whole lot of hand sewing; it was all done with machine. Um, Still, that's you think $1,200 for that, 1,200 a week. That's all right money. Mind you, though, I think my mom was a bit more like me. I think by the time she got done making that thing, she was done with quilts for a while. It wasn't like she was like, "Oh, I wonder who else would like a quilt." Nope, she went on to making shirts for me and doing, yeah, yeah. No, see those 1,200 for a blanket is they're still done on a machine. They're just gorgeous, and there's like a lot of different material. The one my mom did didn't have a lot of material. It was about the pattern that was actually on there, and then the way she did the stitches to actually kind of go and make the thing puff up in the right places and stuff. Yeah, no, right, yeah. So Gothic, you'll have to on Facebook. I'll try to. I don't know if I made it a point before. I'll try to find the gal who does the one shawls with the spiral and stuff. But I think she's making more than $100 for the shawl. I honestly think she gets a lot more for it, and maybe it's because she's got the cool spiral effects going on or whatever. But um, yeah, you have to check her stuff out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it feels like most patterns though are somebody's out there doing it for free or have a YouTube video or you know, I don't know. It just seems like it would be a hard pressed to come up with a something that somebody else hasn't already made. Yeah. And I can say for experience, like doing videos, man, it's there's a whole lot going into even just what we're doing here. Like two cameras, software, the computer. Um, my last computer completely was failing me and lagging so hard that I had to actually buy, like, I got the whatever check the American government was doing, and I was so looking forward to, I was going to get a fancy indoor trainer for bicycle thing, you know, for my workouts, and it turned out like my other computer just couldn't do the work fast enough, or you know, whatever. So yeah, it all went into this, and I'm still a long ways from being monetized, sadly. Yeah. But you're right, Gothic. There's totally ways of making things unique, and no, I totally encourage that. I think that's what makes things brilliant, you know. Of course, as soon as you make a pattern and start selling it, it stops being unique. But it's still. If you have the means to create things that people have never seen before, yeah, I think that's totally cool. Like I said, I want you to see this chick that does the spiral thing. They're gorgeous. And I imagine that it wouldn't take that much to figure out how she's doing it. And I don't know. I think some of them that she makes, there's room for improvement. It looks like she's kind of doing bigger stitches or using bigger hooks in order to speed up the process. So maybe you make them just the spirals just a little tighter, a little bit more intense. Plus you have your own flair that's sort of neat, you know. You got that whole darker, you know, using blacks and stuff more. I think that could be really cool. Right. No, and I totally get that. And I think that's why I wanted to I didn't want to be exactly like other people. And I don't mind you. I don't watch other people's videos for the sole purposes I don't want to end up because I kind of could see that happening. Like I could totally end up being like somebody else that has bracelet channels. So I don't really watch them and how they do it. But then I kind of figured based on, because I'm an admin in one of the bracelet maker groups on Facebook. And so the kind of questions and stuff that come in and the things that people talk about kind of give me a bit of guidance. So yeah, I totally get, like, there's a lot of people who are really into being told exactly how to do stuff. And they do have bracelet videos where, like, doing how to do a cylinder per se, right? Where I went and I showed exactly how to make that particular bracelet. Yeah, you know, there's a bunch, and most of those are in like either the beginner or intermediate. But I figure for the people who come to see like the more advanced stuff, yeah, I think that notion of having to follow step by step, that's no longer advanced. Advanced is you take what you have, you take what you know, and you get creative with it. You like, I had a person say, "Can you double any bracelet?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." right? And in my head, that's just such a simple question, right? Like, of course you can double it. And then she's like, okay, so this is the bracelet, and it's the one where it looks like little waves. And I'm like, wait, how are we gonna double this? Do we make it wave on top of the other wave? Or do we do waves back to back or forward to forward? Like, it suddenly did not make any sense whatsoever. And that prompted a pretty cool video. And one of those patterns actually looks so much like the Star Wars, the Rebel symbol. That's in my mind, that's exactly what the pattern turns into. And I think that's brilliant. I think that was so much fun to suddenly get hit with something I had no clue. Like, it totally was crazy. Yeah, yeah. And it's possibly that I intimidated all of the beginners away, and although I don't know, there are some beginners that come in, and like I like to think that maybe I'm inspiring them to, be able to stick with it, and you'll be able to do cool things too, But yeah. And like I said, once I get back to doing the pillows and get back to doing regular Friday videos and stuff again, um, there's going to be a lot more focus back to easier things because, well, one of the things, what, oh, dovetail. This whole video I've been trying to remember what this dovetail, right? So like with this dovetail, one of the things that's going to be interesting is one of the so there's two different pillows I bought the string for already. One is to do a pattern exactly like this, but the colors are all hot colors, like basically red to yellow. And what's going to be interesting, and what I will learn out of this and be able to share with everybody, is when you have this going like this, where each row changes the outer color, what will happen is all of the strings get used up evenly. So when they start to run out, they all start to run out. And how are we going to replace the strings in order to make this work out? Because the pillows are, do you remember what the dimensions roughly are? How big are the pillows? 35 square, maybe 30, maybe 40 cm square, something like that. So they're not huge, and I'll be able to produce them relatively quickly, but they're going to teach me things, and then I'm going to be able to share what I'm learning as I'm doing it. So that's going to be really fascinating. The other one is the outer color stays the same all the way through, and the insides all stay the same all the way through. So the colors that are closer to the outside are the ones that will be replaced, where the one that's the little dot will almost, if ever, need to be replaced. So two very similar designs that are going to have completely different effects as to how it plays out in the long run. And to be honest, I'm kind of excited to see what I learned from it in the process. So it's going to be where I think the beginners, as long as you can do a double of something simple, they'll be able to follow along and create pillows to have in their home, which I think that's going to be brilliant. I think that's going to, if you are ambitious and you want to see something bigger, because after a while, like just doing bracelets, I don't know, 5-10 years of making bracelets, you feel like you've done them all, even if there's 10,000 over on Bracelet Book or Bracelet Net or whatever. So many of them are so similar and so whatever that eventually you feel like you've accomplished everything. So the only way to go from there, once you got that feeling of accomplishment, is to go with a bigger design, to go with something a little bit more challenging in size or whatever. And that's, you know, I don't know. For me, that's where I started having the most fun. That's where the bags came in. Nobody wanted great big bracers, you know, something going all the way up their arm, you know, from here up here and stuff. Nobody wanted that. Nobody's paying me money to make them. But then when I realized that if I could make it just a big cylinder that, you know, and then seal up the ends, people could put stuff in it. Now I have a cool bag. Suddenly I have a means to making bigger projects that people actually want. It kind of reminds me, there's a gal that wanted one of the bags she was going to put money down on it. I wonder whatever happened to her. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the progress here tonight. I was hoping to at least finish a couple of these rows, and that looks like that's exactly what we're gonna do. Yeah, one of my most viewed videos was the one about how to measure bracelets in the amount of time made, because I think a number of knotters who look at making bracelets, they count, well, yeah, I can make a bracelet in a couple, you know, in 2 hours or whatever, and it's like, really? In 2 hours you figured out your pattern, you cut your string, you know, you bought the embroidery floss, you did, like, there's so much more than just a 2-hour bracelet. You know, it's not from the moment that you have all the strings prepped and then the timer starts, in my mind at least. That's not fair to yourself. That's not fair if that's how you're you know, charging and billing yourself for it, because there is so much more involved in the whole making the stuff, you know. Getting this, ordering the strings, you know, is for me one of the biggest places where it all starts with. And then, you know, a lot of times I like to put my stuff on the bobbins, so that way I can make sure that when I get a creative idea, I'm not having to work with strings that are all tangled up. Because if you just throw all your string in a box, by the time you go to use it, that you're just gonna it's just gonna be a mess. It's gonna be so difficult. Like, oh, I want this color, and then you try to unravel it, and it just goes into a big knotted ball. It just takes so much more time in the process of creating. And to me, that all counts. That's all those, if you're a lawyer, you know, they call those billable hours, right? So that's all part of the experience of making it. And if you're good at what you do, then they basically say, you know, well, they expect that you're not charging for 5 hours of untangling string, because obviously a professional would have found a better method of keeping their strings from being tangled. So yeah, this I think that is one of my more popular videos, which is funny. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, so I often don't take into account that my ADHD makes me a um, neurotypical type person, so my process on how I approach these things and stuff are also probably very different. And like I said, once we get back into doing, why is the focus so bad again? Hang on. Let's try this for a minute. All right, man. You have a good night. I'm still feeling energetic. Mind you, I'm still drinking Pepsi, so. Oh, that's the end of that. But yeah, I'm still going at it, going strong. Yeah, so I had a viewer, I don't know how many weeks back, we had gotten talking about crocheting, and she gave me some links to go check out different learn how to crochet channels. And I gotta tell you, man, I am so itching to go and check that stuff out. I'm really want to go check that out. But I kind of know myself, and I know that if I go and start playing with something like that, I'm gonna have a hard time coming back to doing this. Like, honestly, my carrot and stick methodology is that as soon as I get done with this project, I can do other fun things, but only after I finish it. And that's what's driving me to keep it going and stuff. Hey, Rainbow made it. Rainbow Haze, hello. Yeah, I think if I do crocheting, I don't think I would want to use yarn. I think, I think what I'd want to play with is the stuff that's kind of like the thickness of like the doubled up embroidery floss. I don't know what size or whatever that is, but like the smaller stuff, because I would like a friend of mine, she made like a little adipose from the Doctor Who show, and she made, what was the other thing? Oh, a horse. And I love those damn things. I don't know. Yeah, room full of supplies. Yeah, good point. Also, wouldn't mind trying to do those bags. What are those bags called? I want to say wasabi, but that's not it. What? What? Huh? Why you? Why you? Why me? Why any of us? Yes, but those bags, I think that would be another thing that I'd be interested in. But yeah. Yeah, my mom used to do like lacy stuff. The doilies and such, table runners and you know all of the big words and I don't. Uh, in my mind, I have like some kind of a weird sorting process where like I won't necessarily remember the words very easily, but I'll remember what it sort of starts with. And that's like, it's all compartmentalized like that. Like everything is, oh, it starts with a this. And yeah, the YU bags or whatever, that's, I knew it was started with wa, and that's, yeah. I knew it wasn't wasabi, but I had no idea. Complete blank. Yeah, I've seen some of the really super tiny ones. Like, oh my god. Yeah, we used to have. My mom was a seamstress, and she used to have like those giant filing cabinets that like you see in like a lawyer's office. She had four of those stacked together, and that mostly held fabric, and then every conceivable kind of crochet hook, needles for knitting. Um, she had all the stuff. She had stuff for needlepoint. She had stuff for cross stitch. She had stuff. Basically, me growing up, whatever I wanted to play with, um, it was there for me to play with. We had this thing. Hang on, I'm gonna grab some paper. So we had a thing. Really terrible circle here. Sorry. Okay, so we had the circle, and there was a hole right in the center of it, and you put a pin in the hole, and then there were these weird shapes all around the thing where basically you could fit your pen in there and trace out the line. Now each one of these things would have a number, you know, and then up here there were the numbers. And so what you did was you put it at number one, you find number one, you fill it in, turn it to number two, fill it in, number three, and so on. And there would be about 36 of these things in there. And when you got done doing all 36 and you pulled the pin out, you would end up with the one that I remember most was the Disney one. So there was Mickey Mouse, there was Dumbo, and whatever. So I then took that because that wasn't enough, and we had these sticks that it makes like a big triangle and then a smaller triangle inside, and when you traced it, it drew the thing bigger with, you know, like a pencil's in this side, a suction cup here, and you trace and it comes out bigger. So I took Dumbo and I enlarged it twice over, and then transferred that pattern, that design, over onto the needlepoint material, and then I used continental stitch to fill it all in. My mom couldn't have been more proud of me because I created my own pattern my own way, and it turned out gorgeous. She framed it and everything. But that was that's the environment I grew up in, where, you know, if you came up with an idea and you wanted to go do the thing, all the materials were at hand and 100% encouraged. Like, yeah, let's do that. Kind of like my wife. My wife, honestly, like when I said I wanted to do something kind of the size of that mirror, my wife was like, yeah, we could do that. What colors you want? So, yeah, pretty cool. Aww, we've got forgotten. It's springtime over there. I imagine you're kind of finally getting out of the house and stuff a bit. oranges are short. What the fuck? All right. Yeah, I've tried to explain over here. I don't think people on this side of the world would quite understand it in the way that we would. But 16 degrees here would seem pretty fairly chilly. But when you're at 16 degrees in the springtime, after having temperatures considerably lower, 16 can feel like 25. You know, it's coming out of, you know, especially if you have like the really frigidly cold kind of numbers and stuff. Like I remember like having winter days where you get -10, -20, and suddenly you get a 10-degree day and you feel like wearing shorts. It's just such a dramatic difference for the better that it just changes everything. So yeah, I mean, but over here, our temperatures don't change much because the number of hours in the day don't change much. In fact, I think there's like between the shortest day and the longest day, I was trying to look through the almanac to see like what that is. I think there's only like about a 20 to 30 minute difference. So yeah, it's totally not even the same here at all. Bless her. So, you didn't miss anybody winning the secret word game. We still have that, if you can believe it. I can't believe it, personally. The ability to win something cool by just... It was an old video of mine. That's the inspiration for the magic word here, or secret word. Yeah. Yeah, starting next Tuesday, we're allowed to go out without a mask on. So there's the whole benefit of being able to go out and get a bit of sun without getting weird tan lines. I think she was actually trying to see if she could make the clipboard was actually a very old video of mine. That was so cool because Mandy was my camera person, and I was trying to look so nonchalant while we were at the mall. And at that particular time, we were dog sitting for a friend of ours, and that house that we were at, like at the dining table, the lighting was absolutely terrible for making bracelets. And that's why the little battery operated light thing that I had clipping onto the board, that's why that turned out really cool. That's so funny. But it is not the word. But that was a cool old video of mine. That's funny. That's like, I think that's like really early when I was like kind of like, do I want to teach how to do the knots and stuff? And like the first thing I think like I said, I'm like a moderator on some bracelet making stuff on Facebook, and the whole thing came up versus people were talking about pinning it to a pillow or pinning it onto their denim jeans and stuff, and I was just like, nope, to hell with all that. I'm going to show you guys how it's done. And yeah, that's how that video came about. That's hilarious. That video has actually spiked a couple times too over on my channel. Like there's a couple times where I've just suddenly out of the blue, like I don't know who shared it or what happened, but like there was a couple periods where suddenly that was like a hot topic or something. It was pretty neat. I think one of my video shorts now has been like kind of like hit up really big time. Speaking of, so basically you've seen me showing off this picture here tonight. I did not want to pull this off the clipboard because it's so hard to put onto the clipboard. It literally, oh my God, it's something to muscle around. But when I get done with this little segment here, I'm going to pull it off and do a short video. And for the life of me, I can't figure out how to do a different video. Like, hang on, did I do it? Is it this? No. I don't think, maybe I didn't make the video. I didn't make a video for here on, I didn't put on the OBS thing. But I did a video showing my progress the last time I started in really close, like on one or two little squares or whatever, and kept panning out so that way you could get a scale of how big the thing is. And I thought that was pretty cool and all. Hang on, I seem to have done something wrong and I don't know what. White, blue, orange. Ah, okay. So I'm not sure how to do the next progress video because I don't want to do it exactly the same way that I just did the last one. So if you have any cool concepts of how to show it off, I think that'd be fun. Yeah, I think that the one thing for me that is the big deal breaker about like pinning stuff on the pants is A, what do you do in the summertime when you want to wear shorts, and B, the way you have to sit in order to make that work. And for me, my back just, oh man, I can't even imagine the pain I would be in after a long, I mean, mind you too, when I was like 18, 19 making bracelets, I was sitting down at Hart Plaza in Detroit, which is like this big, they do concerts and stuff there in the summertime on the weekends, and big concrete steps and stuff in an open air auditorium, what do you call that? Big open air things where they do concerts. Anyways, so if you picture like, seating and stuff, like there's, like the little steps and like there's the big whatever. I'm sitting there for, hours on end just tying knots. By the time I get done with the bracelet and suddenly realize, oh, I haven't stretched in a while, like my whole body would just be aching. And that's before I ever hurt my back. I can't even imagine like what that would be like to try to do that stuff now. Like, and that was with a clipboard. Like, man. Oh, no, we're okay. So we are easily more than a month away from being done. Like to be, and that's like if I went completely mad with the my progress, we are at least a month. The um yeah, you weren't here earlier. I was talking about this. So I'm still battling with some of the leftover effects of having had COVID. And one of the big things that's really making me insane is dry eyes and my inability to focus when my eyes are dried and puffy and stuff. It's really been taking a toll on me. So I wanted to have this section done, take the whole thing off, take pictures, and be working on the bottom area here tonight. That was what I was hoping for. And by right should have been able to have accomplished, but the whole dry eye thing has really set me back. So yeah, I'll finish up this little area here. Yeah, I don't know about tonight, but I'll have this area done soon, and then I can go. The area down below is easier because there's no strings to be added. There's no, it goes a whole lot quicker. Well, I say no strings. Um, Occasionally, some of them have yellows to be replaced, but for the most part, everything, all the important ones are already swapped out, and um, the whole bringing it to a tassel or whatever, there's like a whole yeehaw kind of attitude about it that makes it seems that it just goes quicker. The big thing I focused on this week, the thing above all that I wanted done, was I got managed to get this row right here. Like these, this is the first row back on, and it replaces so many strings. Like I swear to God, like some of these squares had 10 strings replaced in just the one little area, and it takes so much concentration and it takes so much effort to be able to do that. That's why I didn't want to have to do it on a live stream, because I'm always talking and I'm always, mildly distracted. And I was afraid of making a mess on one of those because it's so hard to go backwards, and it's so, momentum breaking to try to fix that kind of stuff. So I had all of those prepped and ready to go to make today's video just a little bit smoother. Yeah, no, I'm been living on these eye drops for like the last, what has it been, like 2 weeks now? At least 2 weeks now, of using these artificial tear drops to because yeah, it's just really bad. And I know it's relatively sinus related. Like I can, if I neti pot, that helps a little bit. And then I'll, neti pot and then do some eye drops, and, then I'm okay for a couple hours. But it's just been really something else. Yeah, like as soon as I get done with the video here tonight, I'm totally doing the neti pot because I don't know, maybe all the talking or whatever, but my sinuses, I can just feel them. They like just feel swollen in my face. It's not good. Yeah, I hate hay fever stuff. I hate sinus related things. I already have enough trouble with my sinuses as it is. I've had surgery to fix a deviated septum. I've had all kinds of trouble with them throughout my whole life. COVID was like the last thing I needed. When I went and pulled the longer strands there, I felt one shift, so that way it would have put it off balance, which I do not want. I want them nice and even. But yeah, so there's, last week I had 6 tassels. This week there's 12. By next week there should be at least the 6 more, so that's what, 18. I don't know if the week after that will be like 18 plus, you know, I'm still up in the top section or whatever. But there is 53 tassels in the completed work. So we already have 12. So I don't envision myself running around with this like a cape. I don't envision that at all. It's cute that you thought of that. But I don't think I'm doing it. Maybe like a kilt, though. Wait, the magic 8-ball like that? That's how big the space is? Seriously? Not like a pool ball. I can't. I'm marveling over this notion of 8 balls and a pool ball. Okay. Because, yeah, magic 8 balls are like way bigger. Just suddenly very confused. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. That seems legit. Yeah, so the whole notion of the whole neti pot thing is that, we wash our hands, we wash, you know, our bodies, we wash all over. But the one thing that we need, we need air to live. And the filter that is built to try to keep the air from being full of like nasty particles or whatever, like that needs to be washed as well. So that's sort of the whole premise of where it came from, and it makes a lot of sense. Mind you, I don't know if you, in your researching of neti pots, if you noticed, like there is other stuff that some people use, but there are people who can actually stuff a rag up one nostril, and then I don't know if they just sort of, to get it to come down, but they can take a rag and through both of their nostrils. Like, nope, nope, nope. I can run a little water through there and flush things out, but I'm not doing the rag thing. That's not happening. I'm now picturing that Rainbow's single cell, just kind of single brain cell walking down like long corridors, just lost in its own little world of gee, what is she going to have us do next? Yeah, the rag thing just absolutely tripped me up too. Like how brilliant for you guys that you can manage that. Yeah, somewhere there's always a line somewhere. You have to make the line the where you choose. Like this is far enough, and yeah, neti pot is about as far as I can go comfortably, and yeah. Uh, yeah, no. Uh, yeah, we cannot be having strings in a bunch. Yeah. Poor Gothic over there keeps having yarn barf. I think, though, when it comes to yarn barf, aren't you pretty much guaranteed that if you pull the right places, it'll come apart? Like there's no case where you have a loop where you actually have to put your constructed part through or whatever. I think that's just part of the nature of it. But you pull the wrong one, and it all tenses down and gets harder to separate. Pull the right one, and it comes apart well. Monkey? Oh. Right. But you're not having to like take whatever you've already knitted and like feed it through things and try to get the end to be able to untangle the whole barf thing, right? It's just a big clump that comes out that's not supposed to. Mind you, when I tell you why I know what yarn barf is, you guys are gonna probably laugh at me because it's such a wimpy form of playing with yarn. But besides knitting, I used to, when I was a kid, my mom found a great way of entertaining me. Just give me a ball of yarn or like a whole skein of yarn, and use the wooden thread spools and hammer 4 finishing nails into it, and then take a crochet hook and you just go around and around and around and around with the yarn. I don't know that we ever actually made anything with them. I don't even know what the heck it would be for, other than to take a very hyper boy and shut him up for hours on end. To be honest, like that was it. To be honest, I don't even know what they call that. Like, there's probably a name. Somebody probably has a name for it now. But yeah, at the time, man, I was good at that stuff. Yeah. I mean, to shut up a kid for hours, nay, days, like I with a skein of yarn, it could take days to go through, and yeah, I would just go at it like feverishly. Yeah, so what do you do with I-cord then? What's its purpose? Does that turn into something? Like the only thing I've ever seen it potentially be used for, and this kind of pissed me off. I bought a knitting pattern, and the knitting pattern was basically make a skull cap, then do out of pink string, and then use some pink string and the 4 nails in the spool, and make a really long piece of that, and then stitch in a way that it looks like you made 2 hemispheres, so that way you end up with a cap that looks like you've got an exposed brain. That's the only thing I've ever actually see it used for. Like that was literally the one pattern I actually purchased, and I was just like, wait, what? Yeah. Uh, to be honest, I think out of all that cord that I made, I think my mom, and let's see if I know the yarn people's or the crocheting people's term, she frogged it. So yeah, after having me with a whole ball or a whole skein of yarn, turn it into this mighty long rope, and then turn it into back into a ball of yarn for her own whatever usage. Yeah, there's no getting back all the string out of this. So do you guys have any cute ideas on how to do the update video for this tomorrow? Because it's about ready to be able to come off the clipboard here. Yeah, no, she never made me frog it. She would frog it. She would take the whole thing out and turn it, because it just comes apart so easily. She could just like let the thing sit on the floor and just pull out the one end and be like, roll it into a ball. She never made me do it. I think I would have cried. I think it would have been devastating to know that all my work went to nothing. But I can guarantee you that all those things that I made, never once did I ever see it in a finished product. I never saw it used for anything, you know. And looking back, it's like, you know, yeah, that yarn went back into her stash. Like, she didn't lose anything. There's a cape. I'm not. It's not man here to save the day. He'll get that string out of a bunch. Yeah, she went through a whole list of videos of all these superheroes getting pulled, their cape got caught and pulled them into a jet engine or various things. Yeah, that did not go well for people with capes. And if you've never seen The Incredibles, you really need to like go find that somewhere, YouTube or wherever, bootleg, and go watch that. The Incredibles was absolutely one of Pixar's most brilliant things It really takes the idea of superheroes and gives it a whole different take. It's brilliant. I already said where is a kilt. Did you not catch that? That was like, aren't kilts made out of like fabrics that are supposed to represent their family? Like, you know, all the different clans or whatever. This could be like my clan here, like starting now. except for me wearing this as a kilt, I can already see what the question will be. Gosh, is your string in a bunch, or are you happy to see me? Right. So this could be my clan pattern. Oh, but that implies that I'd actually have to make one for Mandy and yeah. Oh no. Yeah, my meds are kind of the opposite, which is kind of funny. My meds are like, if I forget to take my meds, but mind you, my meds are controlled substance because apparently neurotypicals find them addictive. Me, I struggle to remember to take the damn things, and only when I'm like, oh, I'm actually really, really tired. Wait, did I take my meds? And then I have to go to my little container because every Sunday or Saturday night, Mandy puts together the thing. And so I can count like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Nope, I did not take my pills yet. And that's why I'm feeling so tired. Like, it's so weird. They will not let me sleep. And I can actually physically feel when I haven't taken them. Like there's a real thing. Yeah, I definitely have that effect on some people. I used to put you to sleep. Back in the early days of me and Mandy, we used to spend a lot of time talking over the computer. And yeah, my voice would lull her to sleep. Ooh, that actually sounds wonderful. Hey, Maris. Hello. You made it. Yeah, I think my meds are supposed to help me produce dopamine. Or yeah, I think that's what mine does. Is it activates something in the frontal lobe and helps me to produce dopamine. And it's supposed to help me to concentrate longer, which if you notice, like, you know, I've been able to put in a lot of work here this evening, so that's I guess working. So Maris, did you pop in so that you could finally guess the magic word or the secret word and win the prizes? We're still waiting on somebody to actually come up with it. And if you want, I'll give you the clues again. The clues are, it has something to do with one of my older videos, and it should be easy enough for you to spell. Like the very first one, everybody had trouble spelling Rapunzel, which was hilarious. Yes, guess the secret word. It's been too long. It's been so long that I'm not even sure which button I'm supposed to hit when the winner hits it and it makes the confetti pop. Like I've literally forgotten which button that is. That's how long it's been that we are waiting for a winner. When you guys all learn what the secret word was, there's gonna be so many face palms. It's not even funny. Yeah, yeah. Rainbow keeps sending me screenshots of where the video that is in question is popping up on her feed, and it's just so that to me that's hilarious. And why it's even a suggested video is just completely, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not even like, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I don't know. And no, it's not my fish tank. I guess you have to. You just scared the bejeebies. I don't know what Mandy did to the little chair that she's got her computer propped up on, but she dragged it and it made like a weird, I don't know, strange sound. About made me jump out of my chair. Oh, I got my chair repaired. That was something that happened this week. That's nice. So my chair, I don't know if you guys remember this, but periodically in my video, I would start shrinking down. It got really bad there for a little while. I'd just be sitting in my chair and it just start lowering itself. Oh man, I hated it. Yeah, like I said, I don't even know why YouTube is suggesting that video. Like, of all things, why? The prep work that went into that video was crazy, by the way. That was that was a hard video to make. Huh. Well, it's cool it shows off the streams. And by the way, to anybody who's still watching this from a later time, you've stuck it out like all this far. Like, wow, thank you. That's amazing. But yeah, I've noticed like the amount of people that actually watch it during the live stream, 8 to 10 people, give or take. Where are we at right now? It says there's only 3. I suspect if Amaris is still with us, there's more. Rainbow, you're still here. Gothic, you're still here, right? So yeah, I think my thing doesn't report the numbers properly. But all that said, a majority of the viewership comes afterwards, which is pretty cool. So kudos to all those people. Thank you. Helping make the number of watch hours better, which is great because we're still trying to hit the 4,000 watch hours to help appease YouTube to make this a monetized channel. That's so weird. Mine says 5 in one place and 3 in another. Okay. So weird. So Maris is probably going through the old videos right now looking for that magic word. You go, Amaris. Show them how it's done. Somebody, please. I'm almost done with this last diamond of this last chunk. So or silent watchers. Yeah. I'm okay with that, honestly. If people want to watch my videos but they don't want to like join in, I'm okay. I get it. That's fine. I do know like we had some friends in Indonesia that, you know, when we went down to Indonesia, they made it a point to come and visit, and hang out with us and spend time and take us to interesting shops and wander around the city and stuff. And they were really shy about it because their English wasn't really that good. And the one girl brought a girlfriend who is better at translating and stuff. And they were the most awesome pair ever. We had the most fun. I was busy looking for antiques and stuff. Never did find anything I wanted, but I was like pretty preoccupied in that. Wait, I'm having to read this again. Hang on. Bloodstone. Okay. Wait, how? I'm not understanding that. Blood? How do you have blood stolen? I don't understand. Somehow my brain is not. I think my brain cell has run off. Oh, okay. So, this segment is an awful lot like the segment just to the left of the finished area. So that's a whole 6 rows. So now if you can picture it, it looks just like that, except for 6 rows further over to the side. That's where we are now. You know, let me zoom out. Where am I zooming at? So there we go. Yeah, I was thinking something like that. Like it's too small to be out on its own. So fortunately, if it's wandered off with you, Rainbow, I'm happy that it's at least being supervised. Um, anyway, it is. Is it really? It's 1:45 over here. 1:45 in the morning. So I think we're wrapping up. And you guys are having way too much fun, and I don't want the party to end. But yeah, before I go, I definitely have to thank all my Patreon supporters for helping me and keeping the channel going. Definitely, you guys definitely keep this thing going. You guys have been, the best support. So yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. Trying to think, when is the next? Okay, so the next video is on the 2nd. That means then right after that we got our hangout. So hopefully everybody can come and hang out, and we'll have some Patreon fun and talk crazy nonsense, and it'll be a good time. So sharing a sippy cup. It's so cute. I can picture a literal little brain cell and its little teeny tiny sippy cup. Yeah, April, right? Wait, did I say something else? April. Yes, April 2nd is the next video, and then April 3rd is the hangout. So yes, sorry. It said my brain is already ready, making its way for the refrigerator and finding some snacks, because I've been promised snackies. So, yeah, I will see you guys then, and unless you guys hit me up and I see you sooner. That's also a possibility. All right, I'm going to go and find snacks, and I will see you guys next video. So, until then, and as always, Don't get your strings in a bunch.